released from reason, alive with pain. The actors change, the play's the same. As he and his ministers conversed, I peeked out from behind the well.
Take that camera back.
And oh, how I was surprised to learn the devil's not the king of hell. The devil is not the king of hell. The devil is not the king of hell. A violent dance on slippery stone. The line's gone dead, we're all alone. The devil is not the king of hell. Smelling victory, the engine hums. Off in the distance they beat the drums. Amidst the blood and rubble I look for souvenirs to sell. And oh, how I was surprised to learn the devil's not the king of hell. The devil is not the king of hell. The devil is not the king of hell. A violent dance on slippery stone. The line's gone dead, we're all alone. The devil is not the king of hell.
So that was fun.
Mm-hmm.
So
Friday.
I brought that provocative song. I heard it in my car this week, and other than just the timbre and listening to his monotone voice, it's really cool. I think it's about
Tom Morello.
Tom Morello. He was the guitarist for Rage Against the Machine. Oh, I moved it up here. He has this one too. Midnight in the City of Destruction. Wow. I was going to let that be a choice. Maybe next week.
He sings about really positive things.
No, he's a dark guy, right? And Rage Against the Machine, but he's also like very communist, very justice warrior. He probably like completely antithetical to how we think.
Yeah.
But I just am drawn in by that. And so I want to listen to the words, I want to hear what it says. And basically, I think it is Illuminati, the Masons, right? Mm-hmm. Satan is the light giver. So God set the earth spinning and walked away. So something about the slippery stone, we're left here all alone. He talks about, I've learned the devil is not the king of hell. He is the real light giver. He came to enlighten us, and in the Bible he's described as angel of light, right? Yeah. So the occult and the Satanists believe God started the earth, walked away, and if it weren't for Satan, we would just be a bunch of animals here.
Right. So Satan's actually the good guy.
Satan's the good guy,
and God's the bad guy for keeping us from all this knowledge that we should have.
Yeah, he just left us here to die. Yeah. That's
interesting thought.
And that's pretty much that song.
Yeah.
So that's why it's provocative.
Right. Well, this is Friday and this is Uneducated. So if you are watching and you haven't subscribed, make sure you subscribe and click the bell. Brandon needs mic volume, I think he said. If you like it, make sure you like it and share it all around the world so that someone like a Joe Rogan could watch it.
So in certain groups,
yes,
you're blindfolded and
taken into a room.
Pretty much.
Yes.
And then they say you were in darkness, and then while you're kneeling, they take your blindfold off, and they say now you're in light.
Nice.
Did you have to walk between, or not you, would a person have to walk between pillars?
No, I did not walk between pillars.
No?
I would think they would.
It's the Pillars of Solomon.
Oh. Yeah, because that's big about Solomon.
So that's where the Masons came from. Mm-hmm. They found Solomon's tomb, went down the 9 layers to the bottom where he kept all of his secrets.
Right.
That's where it comes from.
Right. Yeah, well, I do know that the whole idea is that they are in search of the true source of light. but nobody seems to know where that light is until you get to the very top. Then you find out the light is Satan himself, I think.
Well, and he is the true light giver. Have you ever seen the YouTube video where they're talking to the old guy coming out of some Masonic convention, and the interviewer is like, praise Jesus, and it almost irritates the old man, and he's like, praise Jesus, yeah, praise Jesus, we all know, and something like, and then he basically says like Satan is the real savior, or if you knew anything, basically you would know that Satan is the real light giver.
Right.
Yeah.
So if you want to even get more confused about the whole Satan, God, Jesus, Savior thing, start watching all of the Marvel movies.
What?
They've made it all a mess.
Yes.
It's like just so confusing about who's good, who's bad. We don't have any idea.
No one, and that's they want.
Yeah.
They don't want a message of hope and truth.
Yeah.
They want you to be confused. So the who's the song everybody was into? Old Town Road. Do you know Old Town Road?
Oh yeah, my goodness.
So then that guy came out as gay, and then have you seen his latest video?
No.
Where he's French kissing the devil.
Mm-hmm.
It takes place in the garden
Okay.
around the tree.
Okay.
But it's sharing basically the story that Satan is the light giver. Like when you start watching the symbolism of Katy Perry and all of these people, the message you start to see is Satan is the light giver.
Yeah.
He is the one that cares for us.
But see, here's the thing, Matt. You're just a deranged conspiracy theorist to believe in Illuminati, that all that stuff is symbolic. They don't really.
But
they're
it
just
doesn't
good.
it doesn't just have to be Illuminati. It's also the Satanic Church.
Yeah.
I mean,
Because they're good people just trying to make a living.
Right.
That's what they're doing.
yeah.
They're not really worshiping anything.
Well, I think some people go in there as being normal and not know what they're getting into.
Okay, so speaking of, now that we're going down this road a little bit, so I've been shooting through YouTube stuff, and sometimes April will be there with me, and we've been watching a lot of the old American Idol clips of like really famous scenes of like kids or people that like just blew everybody away with their talent, right? And I don't know if it's because of my mindset now, but when I see a young child up there, say anywhere from 9 to 13 or whatever, and they've got this killer voice. I mean, they are just like, you're like, how does that come out of that little person, right? And then you see the judges sitting there, and they're just like, there's another one. And that's how I feel that they're looking at this. I don't feel like they're looking at him as if, wow, that's
They're
an amazing
talented.
voice. Yeah. I feel like here we got another
How
one.
can you not think that after the stuff that we know of late?
I know.
Even if you strip away the conspiracy theory part of it, okay? It's plainly obvious to see it. So I'll go back. The famous musician right now that everybody's all gaga about from Cleveland. He's a young kid.
Machine Gun Kelly?
Yes. Somebody sent me a song of his this week, and I'm listening to it. It's basically the song about the crossroads, which is Robert Johnson, which is late 1920s.
Okay.
A song about selling your soul to the devil so that you can be famous and really beat the crap out of this guitar.
Well, he became like legend overnight, right?
Yes. So this Machine Gun Kelly song is basically that message. Katy Perry has a song that has that message. It's like they all have to give credit where credit is due.
Yeah.
So if you look at these particular artists, you will find there's a song talking about how they made the deal with the devil.
Wow.
He talks about cutting himself, and then they drink their own blood.
Yeah, Machine Gun Kelly.
Yeah,
So
I mean,
he's talking about it
not
before.
in a music, but just
No, just talking.
Yeah, just talking.
Yeah.
That's good stuff.
Like, so this is what I worry about people from Washington and people from Hollywood. And if you make it,
Right.
if you are somebody in this world, you have sold out for this world, which the
agree.
Bible tells us.
Yep.
The Bible tells us.
Yep.
But I think they literally are doing it.
Right.
Yeah.
No, I agree. I agree. And then, I'm a little frustrated as I'm watching some of these because obviously they bring on guest judges. And so one time I'm watching, there's this young girl singing, and you've got Demi Lovato. Is that how you say her name? Mm-hmm. And of course, she's had her round with addiction and drugs and stuff like that. And not that you have to be in Hollywood to be addicted or anything like that, but she's been through that. And then you got Britney Spears sitting there, and they're giving this young person, telling them all this thing. And I'm thinking to myself, so this is the idea of, the misery loves company thing. Like, come on in. We'll show you exactly how to eat this thing called death.
Right.
And we'll show you how to love it and experience it and all that stuff.
But we're all attracted to it.
My goodness. It's
We're,
terrible.
we're all attracted to it.
Yeah, I know.
Like, in one way or another.
I know.
We're I don't know. It's...
I know.
You start to hear, like, you start to realize Christ is the only answer.
There's nothing.
There is nothing else. Mm-mm. There is nothing else. Yeah. I watched 2,000 Mules, the guy who made that movie, Dinesh D'Souza.
Okay.
I watched Dinesh D'Souza debating an atheist recently. If you've seen it, let me know.
I haven't seen it.
So apparently the guy just spoke. My wife sent this to me, and I was watching it this week at dinner.
He's Indian descent, correct?
Yeah, I think so.
Like
Yeah.
India.
Like Dothead Indian, not
Indian.
Right. Yeah.
That's not politically
Just
correct
to be
at all.
racist.
All right.
I mean, might as well.
Guardian.
So, will that get us kicked off YouTube?
Unless you say we're going to be called guardians instead of uneducated now. Then we'll be all right.
Then we'll be okay. So, his take on the debate with the atheist was interesting in that he basically said, I'm not even going to address what he just said. And then he shares the gospel to this audience and explains in the end that basically the person who doesn't believe in Christ, he said, let's just on principle, if I came to you and said, don't murder, don't steal, be kind to your neighbor, he goes, who's against that? And he goes, the atheist. The atheist has to denigrate and tear down Jesus, who told us to do the good things.
That's good.
And that's the person that you're listening to. It was really pretty great. Wow. So like he totally, like, normally when you watch those things, they're trying to combat, and he's just like, I'm not going to address anything he said.
Right.
Shares the gospel.
Yeah.
And then explains. It was pretty awesome.
Right.
It was a pretty great video.
I think I've used in the past this quote, but I'm not sure I like it anymore. And it was the Gandhi quote where Gandhi said, I really like your Jesus, but I don't like your Christians or something like that. Mm-hmm. So, and I think to myself, the Christians that he's talking about, I get that, some people are jerks and some people are claiming to be Christian and not. But ultimately, to stereotype all Christians as not like, that's exactly who Jesus died for.
Well, it's like
he
we
died
said,
for all of us.
But it's like we said before, my neighbor's biggest thing is, you're all hypocrites. Mm-hmm. Everybody there is a hypocrite. Yeah. Well, yeah, we are. We ought to own it. Mm-hmm. Yes, I am a hypocrite.
And I can't not be a hypocrite without Jesus.
Yeah.
There's no way.
Yeah. There's nothing that you can't, like, you literally have to come to a realization there is literally nothing you can do in your life without Jesus. Mm-hmm. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Rightly.
Right.
So.
And so ultimately, that's where the rubber's been meeting the road for me, because I'm like, if Jesus said these things are possible, and I'm supposed to believe that what he said is true, then that means I don't have to be a hypocrite. I don't have to lust. I don't have to lie. I can let my yes be yes and my no be no. These things can happen in my life, but it's going to take really a full surrender of my life to him and coming to the conclusion. And this is what I think sanctification is about. It's a process of coming to the realization of believing that what Jesus said is actually true. Yeah. So I think for a long time we struggled thinking, oh, maybe. And this takes you back to like my sermon that's, we're going to talk about this Sunday, and that's in the garden where Eve is being tempted by Satan, and he's getting her to question everything that God told them. He's trying to get her to question it all. And I think that's what life does. It continues to get us to question whether or not So God said lust is not good. So, but you're going, but it feels kind of good for a little bit, and then you realize, no, that's not good. And then you repent of it, and then eventually you get to the point where you go, okay, you know what? I'm going to believe him. That's not good. And then you get free from that. And that's a process, I think, that just happens for all of us, and God works that out through your whole life. But you, as a Christian, I think you have to be willing to let the process happen. You have to be vulnerable enough to let the process happen to you, you know, because it's tough, and yet it's so easy.
True.
So, all right. Well, I want to bring this out. I don't know if you guys have seen the James Webb. I think it's James Webb. I think that's the name of it. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe that's a guy I used to know. It's that new telescope that supposedly is better than the Hubble, and it's out there taking pictures. Well, they finally got pictures back, which I still don't understand this. Can you guys explain to me how, if something is 100 million light years away, a galaxy, how they can take a picture of it and somehow get that picture back and download it and bring it into NASA within a couple months? Can you explain how that works?
Wait, what?
Because if it takes light 100 million light
It's
years
100
to
million,
travel,
yeah.
say it takes that
That's
long to
how
travel.
old. That's how old you're looking at it.
Okay, but how do you get a reflection? Because we know that when you take a picture, you're refracting that or reflecting that, right?
Do it this way. The sunlight that you're looking at today
Okay.
It's
is
old.
8 minutes old.
Okay.
So it's the same principle.
All right.
You're looking at a star or a galaxy, or you're looking at it 100 million years ago,
Okay, I get that.
because that's when the light's reaching you.
If that's true. Yeah, if that's true. So you're saying they're taking a picture of the light that's been coming for 100 million years.
It's current for us,
Okay.
but the light it's receiving
All right, that helps me.
is 100 million years old.
That helps me.
Yes.
I'm thinking they got to send a beam all the way into that galaxy, and it's got to turn around and come back.
when you take a picture,
Yeah.
you're just receiving.
Yeah.
When you use your eyes,
Yeah.
you're just receiving.
Yeah.
You're not sending anything.
Which means
If we send something,
Yeah.
we'll never know about it.
Yeah, which means there's so much we don't know that's in there in that receiving part,
Right.
that dimension that we can't see.
Right.
All right. So anyway, the Hubble telescope, the Webb, whatever that thing is called. I think it's James Webb, but I'm not positive. But that telescope supposedly is bringing back pictures now of not stars, but galaxies, and they showed some pictures. And I think if I'm correct, that when they get these pictures in, the pictures aren't actually in color. I think the computer has to generate what the colors would be because they only get
See,
whatever the light
why
is.
would you believe that?
I don't-
Right off the rip, I'm like, what?
I know, but I read that I think on NASA somewhere. But anyway, so you got these beautiful colors of galaxies out there, these pictures of them, and then you've got the scientists and all the people who don't believe this. And this is what Isaiah 40 says. Do you not know? This is chapter 40 of Isaiah, verse 21. Do you not know, and have you not heard? Has it not been declared to you from the beginning, and have you not understood from the foundations of the earth? It is he who sits above the circle of the earth, and its inhabitants are like grasshoppers, who stretches out the heavens like a curtain and spreads them out like a tent to dwell in. He it is who reduces rulers to nothing, who makes the judges of the earth meaningless. Scarcely have they been planted, scarcely have they been sown, scarcely has their stock taken root in the earth, but he merely blows on them and they wither, and the storm carries them away like stubble. To whom then will you liken me, that I would be his equal, says the Holy One? Lift up your eyes on high and see who has created these stars, the one who leads forth their host by number. He calls them all by name. Because of the greatness of his might and the strength of his power, not one of them is missing. Now that was written by Isaiah back probably 700, sometimes 700, maybe 730 BC, according to scholars who would say that. And just by from the ground looking into there and God speaking to him, he recognized that that stuff was because of the Creator God who created the heavens and the earth. And yet we're taking telescopes out there and looking at these beautiful, amazing galaxies, and we still can't conclude that there's a God that we're accountable to.
It's because you don't want to.
Yeah,
It's as simple as that.
I know.
Did you guys ever check out the Voyagers 1 and 2? They sent up
The one that
Those are old, right?
back in the day.
They're
Like,
still.
are they? But they like, didn't one of them just pass Pluto within the past half a decade?
I don't know, but they're far away.
Yeah, they're far, far
What,
away.
they put them in space and just let them go?
Like
Yeah,
when
they
we
put,
were in
like-
grade school, dude.
What?
Yeah.
Dude, all you gotta do is type in Voyager, and you can bring it up on NASA's.
How do they know where they're at? Are they
They send back signals.
Yeah, like this one's 12 billion miles away.
Which one do you want here?
Go down, just the main website. If you can look at all the cool stuff. Keep going. Right there, the second one.
JPL. Voyager, JPL, NASA.
What's that mean?
Jet Propulsion Laboratories.
Oh,
Jim Parsons Laboratories.
Jim Parsons, yep. That's demonic right there.
Yeah. Well, no. Listen, this is okay. So you know what? This directly answers your question, Brian. They look at the stars and they can't acknowledge there's a God. Why? Because they're worshiping Satan.
Yeah.
They're looking for the demons.
Right.
They're looking for the dark side.
Right.
That's why they don't acknowledge God.
Right.
We want to talk to the satanic forces,
Uh-huh.
and so we can be rulers of the earth.
And okay, so I'm listening to that video last night. What was it called again?
Oh, look how far away those are. Holy cats.
Which one?
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
Distance from the sun. Distance from Earth. So there's billion. It's 12 billion miles. 91,074,422, 435, 448, 455. Like that, they're going.
Nonstop.
When you and I were in grade school,
But this-
or maybe it was the early 90s. Does it say when they went
I
up?
was gonna say it had to be later than grade school.
What's interesting is the stuff they put on it. They put like golden records on it, and
What do you
Yeah.
mean golden records?
of like us, like our
Look, and
civilization.
so look at this. This is fun. One way light time. So it would take that if you wanted to see that light would be 18 days old. 18 days, 1 hour and 40. No, that's hours. 18 hours.
Like it's the sounds of the earth. They put it on a golden record in case anything finds it.
I'll bet it's whales.
Probably is.
Go to like news or golden record. Right there it is. Overview.
The sounds of Earth.
The sounds of Earth. Boy, I hope there's a Hillary Clinton laugh track.
There has to be.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, there she is.
Okay, so if they get this record, how do they know the civilization's gonna know how to play it?
Well, it's gold-plated disc containing sounds and images selected to portray the diversity of life and culture on Earth.
The diversity. You know what's bad? We launched it before we decided there wasn't man and woman. They're going to think that we're sexists.
Oh, they are. That's terrible.
They're going to think we're just binary.
And then they're gonna come and take us out because of
Oh,
that.
it's so bad. Can you believe we launched that way?
That's wrong.
We got to bring that thing back.
Not to mention, look, they have a female doing this work.
Well, she might have been a female. We don't know.
Well, that's true.
We don't know what she identified as.
True.
All right, I want to find something about.
Dude, this is
This is good stuff.
I want to find.
So, as you're looking for that, I'm watching this. What was the name of that movie? That thing?
Since their 1977 launches, I told you.
That's old.
I told you. That's older than me. So I thought it was during my childhood. It launched 1 year before I was born.
But I thought
But you were here. Just
I was.
Just
I
a
was
reminder.
5. Actually, that's when April was born. It was in 77 when they launched the first one.
Holy cats.
So that means April's a Voyager 1 baby.
Voyager 1, baby. Maybe she's on the golden record.
She might be.
Her cry.
Yeah. All right. Well, April, let us know if they recorded you. They would have had to abduct you to record you, but just let us know if anything strange happened when you were born. Although she does have, well, never mind. She won't want me saying that on on live TV. All right. So I'm watching this documentary. What was that called, Matt? Higher Entities, right? Is that the name of it?
From the
End Times Productions.
End Times Productions, yeah.
And so I'm watching this video, and they're talking about this gentleman who supposedly came clean about some of the stuff that he had been working on. So this is Tom Horn, and Tom Horn's sister supposedly was visited one night, and when he was a kid, and she was paralyzed, she was put in that thing called sleep paralysis, where some people claim that, and she supposedly saw these 3 entities at her bedside. And the only thing that got her free was eventually she could scream, and then they left or whatever. And this continued to happen to her. She gets married to this guy who's working for something in Los Alamos, one of those top secret bases or whatever.
He was researching UFOs.
He was. And he comes home, and she explains that this was still happening to her and thinking he's going to leave her. And he says, no. He says, I definitely believe you. He said, because we are working on this kind of technology ourselves. And 3 days later, he never comes home and goes missing. And then she finally gets a hold of his company, and they say, well, he died in a tragic death or whatever. And they never, his remains never come back to her, nothing. So she finally calls and says, well, I need a death certificate because of Social Security and blah, blah, blah in order to collect benefits. And so they said, okay, we'll see what we can do. And a couple of days later, she calls the Social Security, and they say, yeah, it's all taken care of. You get everything. You're all good. And so he was researching some of this, stuff that we've, been talking about. But one of the things he said is that I think he either talked to or he said there are these beings that are in these underground bases, and they are actually preparing to have a galactic war against God. This is what he told Tom Horn's sister. These beings are here on Earth to prepare for a galactic war against God. Now, this is why I found this interesting, because the top defense guy from Israel 2 years ago when Trump was in office, and it was around Christmas time, I think, or maybe right after in January sometime, he came out with a statement that got kind of a little bit of attention on CNN and some of these channels, and they talked about it, and then they laughed it off and said, oh, he's a wacko. But he said that Trump and Netanyahu were working with this force or this federation of aliens preparing for a galactic war. And, of course, everybody says he's a weirdo. But yet, he's a very credible guy.
Do you think those beings can be older than what is said in here?
I would think so. Because they're immortal to it. I mean, in a sense, they're immortal, right?
Yeah. So God created them technically before this.
Yes. Yeah, some of them. Now, if you're talking about maybe demons and stuff that come from the Nephilim, that would be created after, like in Genesis 6.
Right.
But the actual spiritual realm and those angelic realms, they were created according to Job chapter 38. They sang at creation. The morning stars sang at creation. So they were there at the creation of earth. So they were created before then, according to Job 38.
So they're older than
dust, literally. Yeah, they're older than dirt.
Okay.
But as we're talking about this stuff, I found that strange, because this dude says that these entities that he talked to or heard about were preparing for a galactic war. And then this guy comes out 2 years ago and says that Trump and them are working with these people and Netanyahu.
Maybe the war is when everyone's eyes are open and we can see into dimension.
And then they start coming. Like in Marvel's first Marvel's movie or Avengers movie, where that portal opens up and they all start coming out.
Or Constantine.
I haven't seen that
Or
one.
Keanu Reeves.
That's pretty good.
Is there a portal that opens up in that?
He has a vision of standing on this precipice that's open to hell.
I gotta watch that. Is there a lot of homosexual stuff in there?
Just a little bit. No, there's not.
Because a lot of those old movies, usually the kings and the guys in there are like bisexual.
I don't recommend movies to you, Brian. You watch VeggieTales. Just stay on VeggieTales.
That's funny.
Unless
VeggieTales was good.
like you're bothered by the little pickle talking to the little cucumber girl. Like if you're worried about stuff there.
Okay.
Just avoid those episodes.
Yeah.
Well, I will tell you this:
Junior Asparagus.
we did watch Gray Man, which I think is a Is that Marvel?
That's like a communist movie, ain't it?
It's about these CIA agents that figure out that the top guy's using them, and they're
And how
killing,
they, like, blend in and stuff.
they're trying to kill each other. But we watched that. Other than the language, it was good. Language is a little hot sometimes, but
What do they say?
I can't say.
You poopy butt.
Yeah. Don't make me. Ooh,
Oh.
don't make me punch you in the face.
Oh. The language.
Come over here and I'll put you on the ground and stab you. So
So there we go. So anyway, this telescope,
yeah.
they keep trying to get clearer and clearer. This is what. Are you sure about the color thing? It's weird to me.
Let me look it up.
It's weird to me because the whole point of doing this is to escape the cloudiness of Earth's atmosphere. And so even the Hubble telescope, it's parked so far off the Earth, but it's still in the Earth's gravity orbit, and so the idea is it's still masked by the Earth's dirty atmosphere.
Okay, so
If you're within our orbit, then you're getting dirty atmosphere in front of your camera lens.
right.
So this telescope is even further into space, parked further into space,
Right.
to not be influenced by the dirty Earth air.
Okay, so this might be different, but this is the Hubble. This is from CNET.
So the Hubble's the old one.
Okay, so how the Hubble telescope captures the color out of space. The Hubble can only take images in black and white. Does this mean its gorgeous full color photos are fake? Well, actually, no. When a telescope takes a picture of deep space, it doesn't take it in color. Modern telescopes are equipped with digital cameras that employ CCD or charge coupled device sensors to take images consisting of grayscale pixels, which leads many to believe that the colored images we see from telescopes such as the Hubble aren't actually real. This, however, isn't actually the case, and nor is it the case that astronomers color telescopes imaginary purely for aesthetic values. There are actually some very good reasons for doing this, and somehow it looks like they take the light rays and they calculate something and figure out how they color that.
So what if the technology they're using, they're looking for something different? They're sending us back regular pictures.
Right.
So they go, look, a picture of Grandma.
Right,
And you're like, oh, Grandma's so beautiful.
right,
But they're really looking for something different.
right.
And that camera is meant to capture something
Yeah.
different.
And they just
Because it's black and white, so it can capture all the light spectrums, including infrared and ultraviolet.
right, right.
Yeah.
And they probably crop out the shadow on the wall that was standing behind Grandma with some kind of weird.
Right. Knifey object. Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, it makes you wonder the point, like what don't we know?
Right.
What do we not know?
Right. Yeah. So I mean, yes, when you look at those pictures, I mean, if a picture can say 1,000 words, I mean, it's beautiful what they're showing that's supposedly out there. But that doesn't even
they're coloring it.
I know. But that doesn't even begin to compare to what God has done.
But if you can get free of ambient light,
Yeah.
3 places, 2.5 places. One time I was at Lake Mead. I hope my dad's watching this. 5 people listening, so I'm kind of hoping my dad's one of them because I have an axe to grind. Maverick wheels. We're on a houseboat in the middle of Lake Mead, 1998. We are not running the generator because we don't want to burn gas.
Gotcha.
It is hotter than a chili pepper out there.
Uh-huh.
Even at night. At night, it's 105.
But not hotter than a habanero?
No.
Okay.
I mean, it's solid chili pepper.
Okay.
Habanero during the day.
Okay.
Let's put it this way. The water can be 88 degrees. When you get in it in the middle of the day, it feels like you're stabbing ice water.
Wow.
Yeah. Because I remember swimming, and you're like, holy cow, why is this so painful?
Yeah.
Anyway, moving on. We're not running the air conditioner, so my aunt and uncle go sleep up on top of the houseboat. And I'm like, I'm sleeping up there. So I take my stuff up there. Hopefully that's Middlefield Tire. Take my stuff up there, and I wake up in the middle of the night. And it's locked in my brain how beautiful the stars and how many. I have never, so that's one time. Number two, we were out in the middle of Utah four-wheeling, and there still was some ambient light coming from the little town.
Mm-hmm.
But you can actually see the Milky Way galaxy. The line. You know the line?
Yeah.
You can see it go through the middle of the sky. And then I'm trying to get a camping trip up to Cherry Springs State Park.
Okay.
It's supposed to be the darkest place on the East Coast.
Wow.
I want to go up there. I got my cousin Brad on board so far.
Okay.
I want to camp up there. They have an observatory on the top of this mountain, and there is supposed to be no ambient light because I want to see these stars again, like I did at Lake Mead. And my whole point is, if that imprints on my brain,
Right.
and when I woke up in the middle of that night, I was in awe.
Right.
And then if you can't look at that and not know
Yeah.
that the stars were hung just so we would know his power,
Right.
you're looking for something else in space.
Yep.
You're looking for something else.
I would agree.
Yeah.
I would agree. Yeah, it's too amazing. That's for sure. That's for sure.
If you ever get to go somewhere where there is no light, it'll blow you away.
West Farmington.
There's still a lot of light in West Farmington.
Oh, okay.
I've seen it.
All right. We just got candles.
We just use candles.
We use candles and
We put them in our windows.
a little bit of kerosene.
White
Don't
gas.
mix it with white gas.
Yeah.
Oh,
That stuff burns, boy.
it's really hot.
White gas does.
Well, if you put white gas in your kerosene lantern, you got dead children. Well, it's not funny.
You put any gas in there, right?
It happens. Yeah, actually, I think someday I'll use regular gas.
I think that's why your kerosene bucket is blue as
kerosene
opposed to
bucket.
red. And you shouldn't put anything in but the blue stuff.
Well, on the white gas, so like that's the Coleman lantern. Yeah, you're supposed to use white gas for those.
Oh,
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
yeah.
Huh.
What's with that light?
That light
It's
is
that
just-
power supply.
It's a power supply.
Yeah.
I haven't fixed it yet. As most things around here, we haven't fixed yet.
You know what this
So-
place needs?
What?
A wife.
It does.
This place needs a wife.
It does.
It needs
Ryan.
Something, it needs something following you around.
Yeah.
When are you gonna fix the light? How come you don't fix anything? How come everything around you fixed it on your time? Why aren't you fixing this yet? Isn't this fixed? I told you about it 2 weeks ago. That's
Right.
what we need that here.
No, we do.
I thought Jim was gonna be pretty close.
Yeah.
Jim's close.
He is close. Jim, you do a good job. Brian complains, but nobody listens to Brian.
Right.
So, yeah, it's there. We got a couple, but there's no takers yet. No real.
No takers.
So, are you familiar with the HR 8404 that's on the Ohio docket?
No.
Maybe you could look. You want to grab it real quick? I think it's HR 8404. Actually, your cousin Greg put me onto it. I'm going to at least try to make people
HR Gogan.
HR 8404, I think, for Ohio.
Respect for Marriage Act.
Yeah, that's probably it.
Do you want the text, the actions, the co-sponsors?
I don't know. Maybe just the act, what it says. It's for. We can just throw that up. If will it tell us what it is? So, long story short, it has language in there. Long story short, it has language in there that says that marriage is not to be discriminated against pretty much for anybody. So, if it's like, say, a person from Mexico and a person from, a Caucasian person from America, or a white or a black or male, female, it doesn't matter, that you can't discriminate against any.
The bill provides statutory authority for same-sex and interracial marriages. Specifically, the bill repeals or replaces provisions that define, for purposes of federal law, marriage as between a man and a woman and a spouse as a person of the opposite sex, with provisions that recognize any marriage that is valid under state law. Supreme Court held the current provisions were unconstitutional versus United States versus Windsor 2013. Bill also repeals and replaces provisions that do not require states to recognize same-sex marriages, and other states with provisions that prohibit the denial of full faith and credit or any right or claim relating to out-of-state marriages on the basis of sex, race, ethnicity, or national origin. The Supreme Court held that state laws barring same-sex marriages were unconstitutional. In Obergefell versus Hodges in 2015, the court held that state laws barring interracial marriages were unconstitutional. In Loving versus Virginia in 1967, the bill, wow, it's that old.
What?
The court held
goes back,
that
yeah.
state laws barring interracial marriages. I thought it was, never mind. Yeah, interracial marriages was 1967. That only makes sense. The bill allows the Department of Justice to bring a civil action and establishes a private right or action of violations.
Okay. So I don't think anybody has a problem with the interracial part, but they're throwing in the same-sex marriage into this.
Yeah, this
lumping it all
is
together.
this is how they're trying to get it under the carpet.
Right. So they're throwing this in with it. And on top of that, it's really in fear to try to stop what might be going on at a federal level, I guess. So I think people should just be aware of that and decide how you want to vote, because there are a lot of Republican representatives that are voting for this act, which of course would go against the Christian or conservative view of what marriage is. So I think it should just be, we need to make sure people are at least aware of it. Your cousin Greg gave me a list of some of the, I think, senators who had voted for this.
Okay.
There's a list. I have a paper, and I'll just make that make that available for people if they want to look at it. And then Greg even said, if people would even just call or email, because there's a list of places you can just call and email them and let them know that, you don't agree with this or whatever.
Right.
So.
David Miller popped in and said, P.S. Many scientists have come to faith in God because of studying his creation.
Yeah, no one's not. At least I'm not. I'm not poo-pooing science. I'm saying that, matter of fact, science can actually help us to understand more about how God created.
Right.
But the majority of, if you go to your main universities, they are atheists. They teach that this is all naturalistic, evolutionary design, and so no, I mean, the proper way to look at this is that science and God can coexist, but science doesn't trump God, but it can show and prove who God is. But we were just talking about food today. I mean, you've got all these people out here who have been studying the body for years. And you talk to one guy and he says carbs are bad. You talk to another guy and he says carbs are good. You talk to another guy and he says fruits are bad, which God created. And you talk to another guy and he says fruits are good. These guys are literally basing their stuff on human wisdom.
Yeah.
And so, Brandon and I have talked about this before. I said, okay, I will listen to health people and nutritionists until they start to go against the Bible. The Bible clearly said that the fruits of the trees and the grain and the things of the field were for me to eat. So for somebody that says it's wrong and fruits and vegetables are going to kill you, I don't agree with that, because the Bible clearly says that's what was created for us to eat, for food. Now, do I agree that the pesticides and the way things have been genetically modified are problematic? Yes. I can see that. But ultimately, if you grow it in your backyard and you do the best you can, I think it's okay for you. I'm not going to sit and agree with someone like that.
Well, there is a lot of plants and stuff that can kill you.
No, there is. Yeah. Right.
So David says, You made the comment that they study the universe and still miss God. Matt said because they don't want to. It has to be.
Yeah, I think a lot of them still do.
Yeah.
Because if you believe in evolutionary science and that, you're going to say that all happened randomly.
And that's why I say you want to.
Yeah.
You can't. You can't look at that and not be moved.
Right.
Right. It's incredible.
Yeah. And somewhere in there are some people that will see that. Maybe the scientist that's been an evolutionist forever, he'll see that and finally maybe it'll click and he'll go, man, I remember when Grandma was reading me Isaiah 40.
I think that's the point Dave's making. That
Okay.
Some of them become saved. And
Yeah.
nobody's denying that.
Yeah. No.
I think that a lot of scientists have been moved. Either and that's evolutionary scientists,
Right.
studying against creation to
Right.
whatever. I think a lot of them do become saved.
Right.
And my point is that if you don't, it's because you don't want to.
Right. That's Hugh Ross. That's what happened to Hugh Ross. That's what happened to Paul. I won't be able to remember his last name now, but I could probably look it up and find him real quick. But he's a big scientist guy. He does a lot of biotech research and stuff, but he's a Christian. Michael Behe, same concept. All these guys, big scientists that eventually they were atheists at one time and then they turned. Yeah. So definitely. Yeah.
We appreciate you watching, by the way, Dave.
Yeah. It's always good to have you chime in and lead us and help us think through these things. What else is going on? Dave, since you're still there, you got anything that's been going on you want to throw out there that maybe we could talk about? Boys, you got anything else that you've seen in the news that's going on?
I mean, every day we're being overloaded with stuff. I wouldn't even know where to start.
Yeah. Well,
At this point, you might as well just focus on the things of above.
oh, I do want to say this, that I heard yesterday that we are now officially in a recession. Have you heard that?
Who said it?
So this was on Fox News.
The White House is saying we're not.
Okay, so Fox News declared that we are officially in a recession because the last 2 quarters we have been under.
And down.
Yeah.
The GDP is down.
Right.
Negative.
And the last one was -0.9.
Yeah, it's pretty huge.
Yeah, that's huge. And so because technically, according to the definition of recession, it's 2 quarters down below. So we're technically in recession.
So that was a big argument this weekend because
Okay.
then the spokesman for the White House come out and she said that isn't the sole definition.
Well, of course, we can redefine and cancel whatever we want,
That's
right?
what they do.
Yeah.
Yes, that's what they do.
Yeah.
And then they have who was I listening to? They were making fun of Biden because somebody asks that from a news agency, and he does his. I think I was listening to Megyn Kelly. I was listening to the Megyn Kelly podcast, and she was talking to some guy named Doug Smith. And he's a reporter. Yada yada yada. But he was going on and on about how he does these like 1940s like the Come On Man, and he said something about Jack or you're a real wise guy, and he's like, what? He goes, who uses this anymore? He goes, like, is this 1940s and we're gonna smack him over the head? But he's like, their method for anything that is not in their agenda is to make you feel stupid.
Right.
Then delegitimize it with whatever non-facts that they have, or just to deny that what you're saying has any stance at all.
Right.
That's all they do.
Right.
So somebody asked, like, so are you worried about a recession 2 quarters? And he's like, you're a wise guy, aren't you? Well, there's a lot of smart people who agree that doesn't necessarily mean that we're in a recession. And then he goes on to talk about, this is what I don't understand. Then changes the subject to his green policy, which is going to cost us. We're going to have to tax and spend.
Right.
And that's going to create jobs.
Right.
And then something else. And he goes, and you see recession.
Yeah.
And it's like, you've said nothing.
Right.
You just said nothing.
Right. And so what's the tax thing that they need to hike up now in order to help combat the inflation? That's the
Anti-Inflammation Act, or inflation. The Anti-Inflation Act is going to spend more money, more fiat dollars.
Right.
Which everybody knows creates more inflation.
Right.
They have to incentivize the things that they say will fix the environment.
Right.
Because in reality, less than 1% of this country cares about the environment right now. They're more worried about how they're going to eat tomorrow.
Right, right. And that's the smart people that come up with that. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's good stuff. Yeah. Now the what's the tax though that will be raised now? The Federal Reserve. What is that tax that I can't think of it now off the top of my head? Just the general tax, like for homeowners and all that stuff. Why can't I think of the name of that?
Well, there's Social Security and income tax.
Yeah, but it's like the main thing that they judge everything on, that flat tax that man, what's the name of it? Anyway, I know that's going to have to go up now. I can't remember what the name of it is. So they got to take that up in order to help supposedly fix some of this stuff.
But
Because you know how it was so low there for such a long time, and I say you know how it was so low, but obviously if we don't know what we're talking about, you don't know how it was so low.
what you're talking. I'm trying to remember. I'm trying to think of what you're talking about.
All right,
There's.
I'll find it. I'm stupid.
But okay, so inflation is a hidden tax,
Right,
right?
right,
When you have high inflation, you've just confiscated wealth from holders of the dollar
right,
or whatever money you're using.
right, right.
I think that's what people don't realize.
Yeah,
Because the wealthy can absorb it.
yeah, right,
The wealthy can absorb it.
right,
Us peasants,
right,
we can't make $100 and then have you tell me it's worth 25 tomorrow.
right.
Because that's essentially what inflation is. That's what's
Okay,
happening.
so here's what I find to be funny too, because even in that same report on Fox, they said eggs are up 35%.
Yes.
Well, when I went to the store 6 months ago,
Yes.
they were $1.50. They're $3 now. That looks like 100%.
That
to
looks
me,
like 300. Yeah. Right.
right.
That's like 300.
I think the
No, you're right.
organic eggs at Aldi's are $3.79 now.
I know they're outrageous. I know.
But everything's that way.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't seem like much. But what people don't realize is the multiplicative factor of it's double.
Yeah.
So if you were spending X amount of dollars and it now takes you twice as much,
Right.
that means that you have to work twice as much to afford the same thing that you used to afford.
Right, right.
People don't put that together.
Right.
Even though gas went up 5 times,
Right.
you now have to work 5 times.
Right.
If you work 5 days a week, you now have to work 25 days a week
Right.
to afford the same level that you were affording just 2 years
Right.
ago.
Right.
And this is why people aren't outraged.
Right.
Okay, it's the White House this week. Okay, we can't control the oil prices. We don't control them. We can't control them.
Right.
They're doing their own thing. What do they do this week? Because it's down $1. Look what we did for you.
I know.
Do you see what we did for you?
Yeah.
How in the world do we put up with these jokers? I don't
crazy.
understand it. And then we love Jesus.
Yeah.
I don't know how else to get around it.
I don't either.
Didn't Biden get the cough?
He did. He was sick this week, and then he had a triumphant return. Which, did you see how many times that was edited?
No.
Watch his video of his speech. There's video of unedited.
yeah.
Did you see it?
It doesn't even look like him.
Yeah, but
It's his doppelganger?
Yeah, they
when they
do
play
it.
the speech, it's jump cut because they edit out all his silly nonsense in the middle, and it looks like a thought. It looks like a congruent, as well assembled thought. But when you watch the raw footage, he's meandering. He stutters.
Yeah.
He brings up something that's not even related to what he's talking about. And I was watching, they're like, it's not even good editing. Like 1 minute he's staring into space and the next minute he's looking at his watch and they just jump cut it.
Right. It's a mess.
No, we are made to be a laughing stock right now.
Yeah. Well, if there was a perfect storm for people to have to depend on a one world leader or some kind of a thing, I think we're
We're getting there.
getting there.
We're getting there.
Yeah. Did David throw any ideas out there or thoughts?
No.
No.
Somebody did say they wish that we had who's the president? Zelensky.
Yeah.
We need our own Zelensky.
Oh.
We need an attractive we need a heartthrob like Zelensky.
You know he's a retired actor, right?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
the whole point. I mean, this is the pinnacle of what they've been
Right.
raising.
So who's gonna be the next president then? Like a Britney Spears or something?
Do you know who? Somebody made the point this week. Ocasio-Cortez.
Oh yeah, AOC.
Sandy,
Yeah.
AOC. She's an actress. That was her profession.
Nice.
Like they are putting in useful idiots / actresses and actors in front of us.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
how-
you have to. It's like the Matthew McConaughey thing when he got up about when the shooting happened.
Yes.
I mean, that was the perfect spokesperson to do that.
Yes.
Because he's an actor, he knows how to manipulate emotions and those.
Yes.
Now, of course, we could say, well, Brian, you can't judge that those weren't real. No, I can't. But at the same time, he can do that. I mean, what we saw in him speaking behind a podium was really no different than what we'd seen in a movie.
Right.
We've seen him do that kind of stuff in a movie.
Right.
So how are you supposed to know what's legit? And that's probably true for anybody. I mean, people can act. It's just some are better than others at it.
Corey wants us to watch the Appalachian Homestead. Warning from farmers. Yeah, that's going on. The Chinese are buying up farmland and shutting it down.
They have been for a while, right?
Yeah. But now
they're shutting it down.
they're shutting it down. Billionaires and Chinese and what else did I watch this week? So they wanted to. The Chinese want to put some kind of Chinese celebration monument
Yeah.
strategically next to some defense building. And there are Republican congressmen who are going like, wait a minute. Because they have done this before, and that's the Huawei thing.
Yeah.
So Huawei got a bad name because it's all Chinese spy equipment put in the middle of our cities. They just it's like you're putting a Trojan horse in our country.
My goodness.
And I think Biden had like some conversation with
Not yet.
China's president.
Did they have it? I thought that's happening.
He did have it.
He did have it.
And the China president said, basically threatened him, or threatened us.
This isn't in regard to the Nancy Pelosi thing, is it?
I don't think so.
Okay.
It just came out like 5 hours ago.
Okay.
I watched the thing on it.
Okay.
The Chinese president said, I'm going to take you out back and put a chain around your neck.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Did he?
He said something about if you play with fire, you're going to get burned.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
But he said that in Chinese, probably.
Probably.
And then Biden said, "Yes, sir. May I please have another?"
And then those reporters asked, the House or whatever what that was about, and they wouldn't comment on it.
Gotcha.
Have
Well-
you seen our new? Listen, what's her name? The red-haired lady, Psaki. Jen
Oh,
Psaki.
yeah.
Circle back.
Yeah, she used to make my blood boil.
Yeah.
You ought to watch the new one.
Oh, yeah. She's good.
She is just a hoot.
Yeah.
Uh,
Because she literally seems to know nothing.
nothing, and it's like we don't talk about that. Like
Mm-hmm.
literally, those are some of her answers. We don't talk about that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, maybe
I
she's
like
just
that
honest.
black chick, Candace, whatever.
Owens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's like a Republican. Right?
Yeah.
She's good.
She's
she's
conservative. Does she claim Republican Party? She's just conservative.
Conservative, maybe. I don't know.
I don't know.
I just
pretty good.
She is good. Yeah. But, I always try to figure out what people's angles are. And I know she's got an angle, but she is good. And Pelosi was supposed to possibly go to Taiwan, and
Okay.
China said, you show up in Taiwan, there's going to be trouble.
So I think my theory is that somehow someone manipulated her on the conservative side.
Yeah?
This has happened before. Actually, I was listening to a Newt Gingrich interview with Sean Hannity.
Okay.
Newt Gingrich is the last American leader to go visit Taiwan. We don't do it. And it was in 1997. So we're working on 30 years ago.
And they're our friends, right? They're our allies.
Yeah,
Taiwan.
we got Taiwan's back.
Yeah.
China wants Taiwan. They stay out of it because of diplomatic relations. They don't want war. Yada yada yada.
Right.
We stay away from it because we don't want a war. yada yada yada.
Right.
And they sell us a lot of stuff. Taiwan makes a lot of stuff for us.
I noticed that.
Yeah. So I think someone tricked Nancy Pelosi into saying she wanted to go to Taiwan because there are Republicans that are like, I'll go with her. They're. I don't know if we're purposefully trying to piss the world off,
Yeah.
or if someone is trying to make her look like a horse's patoot
Right.
at the end of this.
It's possible.
Yeah.
And a horse's patoot is not the prettiest.
No.
I'm trying to find out if my Bible was made in Taiwan. Maybe Vietnam. I thought I saw something in here one time. And I was like, seriously? Printed in China. Which, yeah, that's what I found. Was
China?
interesting. So my Bible, which China, there's a law that you can't have a Bible, right, in
Yeah.
China.
Yeah.
You'll go to jail. But yet this Bible was printed in
They want your money.
China.
They want our money. They want our money. They laugh at that. To them, they think this is hilarious.
Right. Because when I paid $40 for this, it only cost them what, $1.50 to make
Right.
it?
Yeah. You know another? Have you seen the difference between American TikTok and Chinese TikTok?
No.
And I heard this audio. This was just on a podcast. They play TikTok of America, and it's like booty videos, and people dancing half naked, or people falling on their nuts, and it's basically from the movie Idiocracy, Ouch My Balls. That's basically our TikTok is Ouch My Balls.
You mean American?
America.
That's how silly.
because TikTok is Chinese.
Okay.
Okay.
Right.
I've also heard that the logarithms for American TikTok bring to the top. So if you're a Chinese sympathizer or have anything good to say about China, you go to the top. And then, like, if you're American Pride, here's my flag, da-da-da, your video goes to the bottom of the aggregator to find, search engine, right? In China, they don't call it TikTok. It has a different name. But it's the same software, same company. They're watching somebody solve a Rubik's Cube, somebody doing a math problem, somebody doing a science experiment,
Makes sense.
someone being smart, educational, country very pro China,
Right.
all that. That's what their kids in TikTok over there is, and they still limit them. Kids over there are only allowed to watch. It's like Chinese law.
It's like an hour. Right?
40 minutes. It's 40 minutes a day. Then
Wow.
your child can no longer be on there.
That's all. I'm going to tell Brian and Nathan that there's a new law that they just passed. They can only be on their phones for 40 minutes. See how that works. But like, listen, dude, seriously, you can go to jail for this.
You're going down.
Yeah. So that's literally they're bringing in immoral and just dumbing down
Yeah.
our young adults.
Yeah.
So then they can come in and say,
And because they're atheists, like they'll laugh at that the same as laughing at selling you a Bible.
yeah. So here's what we do then. If we wanted this show to go viral, we get on TikTok with this show and we say, like, we love Chinese rice. And that'll start to go
Up.
to the top.
Yeah.
Like,
You know who sold the Chinese rice?
no.
Donald Trump.
Oh,
Donald Trump made the Chinese buy rice from us.
really?
Yes. In one of his deals that we had with China,
Wow.
he made them buy American rice.
That's crazy. Well, if that rice is from California, I heard it's got arsenic in it.
Well, see?
Who's getting back in, right?
I don't know. I think the world's tired of Donald Trump.
Yeah, I think he's done.
I would support him if he was up. I'm really pissed off with the way he handled COVID. And I think that the rest of the world is just done with him. So I don't know. We'll have to see.
I think.
I don't know how thrilled I am about DeSantis. He's a Harvard baby. I don't trust Harvard babies.
No. I'm telling you, like we were talking in the beginning, if you want to be successful in any of these areas, you have to sell your soul.
Yeah.
And so any guy that gets the nominee ticket, he's been to Bilderberg.
Well, do you think Donald Trump was?
I don't know.
I think he was a total fluke.
Maybe.
I think he was.
Maybe because he was wealthy enough and had enough
Yes.
publicity that he was able to slip in.
Yes.
That's possible.
He is. He, in my opinion, he will go down as the last
Yeah.
firebrand, not
Right.
enslaved to the system
Right.
that went in there.
And that's the other thing too. Like all these people that have said we don't want another politician. You know, if they are like serious Trumpers, and that's why they don't want another politician, why would they put DeSantis in there anyway? That's all he is, a politician.
Right. Well, people support DeSantis because they like what he's doing in Florida.
Yeah.
And to stand back and look, it is impressive.
Yeah.
I mean, I wish he was our governor over the toad face,
Yeah.
wet sprocket,
Weinstein.
Weinstein, D-Wine,
D-Wine.
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 Yeah. But see, more importantly is the Ohio State House. We overlook these things. The Ohio State House is conservative and awesome. They just gave us guns without paperwork.
Yeah.
You're allowed to carry a gun concealed with no paperwork.
That might come back to bite us, but,
Why?
well, there's going to be people that are concealing guns that aren't.
They already were.
I know, but
There are people.
more people.
No, now law-abiding. No,
Yeah.
now law-abiding people will conceal guns.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean,
That's true.
You really got to think about this.
Yeah. No, I mean, I get it.
There were
but-
a lot of people shot in the cover of darkness by a gun under his shirt prior to this law.
No, I know.
That's not going to change.
I mean, like I think my father-in-law said, you know, it's always the crooks always had the stuff anyway.
Right.
So the laws really only stop the good people from having certain things.
It's my dad. Locks only keep honest people honest.
Yeah.
If you want to get in, just kick the door down.
Right.
Like the lock is just to go, okay, somebody doesn't want me in there.
Yeah. But here's one of the things I see. Like, say, for instance, you now have this new law, and you've got people who normally, because of the law, would not have carried concealed. But now, because the law has been taken down, because we already know the crooks are going to carry them anyway. But now, all of a sudden, you've got people who normally wouldn't carry concealed that are going to do that because there's no law, and they don't know how. And so now they're out there like rogue people, and they end up shooting somebody that shouldn't be shot, or they end up doing something that because they got angry and they didn't have the gun. And I think that's what the government's looking for, to get a lot of people out there that normally wouldn't have had a gun on them.
And have mistakes happen.
And now they're going, oh, look, see, this is what happens when you give you guys all your guns.
Right.
I like the CCW course as far as the basics to teach somebody that's never been taught. To me, I think that's good.
You think that should be instituted policy?
I mean, if you want to carry something that's deadly, yeah, I think.
Okay, so should we have it for a knife?
No,
Should we have it for a hammer?
but a knife you use often.
How about a hammer? I can kill you with a hammer.
Yeah,
I actually,
a hammer you use often.
I can kill you with this water bottle.
yeah. No, I'm seriously.
But I mean,
where do you draw the
basic-
line?
I mean, basic training on a pistol or shotgun or a rifle, it should be.
What
I
about
think
what about a
people-
ram set?
I think people need that.
What's a ram set?
Should people have training on a ram set?
So you'd be okay with me never owning a firearm and not even know how to use it, and yet I carry it on my hip.
Yeah. Yeah. You know why? Because you're supposed to be freaking personally responsible for what you do with it.
Correct.
And if you do something wrong with it, then something wrong happens to you.
I-
That's what we got rid of. That's what's gone.
I see what you're saying. I'm on both sides too. But I like the training aspect of it, just to have a little
I
basic
think okay.
knowledge of it.
And so part of personal responsibility is if you don't know something about something, what do?
You shouldn't do it.
No. When you are doing something that you don't know what's going on, what do? You look at a YouTube video. You go get a book. You talk to Brian. Brian, hey, you grow cabbage. I'm thinking about growing cabbages. Cabbages are dangerous. Be careful.
I
You got to
realize
do
that.
this, and this. You see what I'm saying?
I realize that. I mean, an example, I seen a kid at work. This happened. You know, this new thing came. He came with a loaded, rusty up, old Colt 38 in his front of his pants.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
Did you say something?
yeah, I said something.
Well, good.
And it's like,
That's being responsible.
yeah, but you have people with no gun responsibility or know how to do anything. That's.
Were you afraid it was going to go off in his pants?
No, I'm not saying it would go off.
The
It's
deeper
just-
problem. The deeper problem to me, Brandon, is he approaches everything that way. Then,
I would think, yeah.
yeah, that's scary too.
It is scary.
Okay,
But he probably wouldn't have brought that to work if the law didn't say he could.
Maybe not.
or,
And
or maybe he was all along. He's just now telling people.
I'm with you. I just think training's a good thing to have.
Yeah, and I agree. If we're gonna call ourselves a free society, we got to be free. But
Yeah.
free is not without. True freedom is not without some kind of
Cost.
cost or responsibility.
Cost of responsibility.
Yeah.
It's Thomas Jefferson or Benjamin Franklin or whatever. You can't have security and freedom at the same time. You either get security or you get freedom.
Yeah.
So if you want security, you're making a trade-off of freedom. Driver's licenses, fishing licenses, hunting licenses. I mean, where do we draw the line? We watched this dude up in Maine. You know, there's limits about fish you can catch, when you can catch them. Da-da-da-da. I kind of agree with that because you will have somebody go up there and try and clean it out. But where do we draw the line at where you go? And this is the problem. You can never give somebody authority and not have them take it too far.
Right.
And so I'm always in the side of don't give them that authority. You just don't get it at all.
But so here would be my thought though. If someone's cool with like, okay, because they're going to clean the fish out, we could have that law. Well, then why couldn't we say something like when it comes to the gun law, you can conceal.
No, I
carry.
want the fishing law gone too.
Oh, you do.
I guess what I'm saying is I understand why you have that.
You got okay.
I understand that our laws about conservation.
Right,
and
right,
everything.
right.
But I think what would be better is a community come together. If you see Ed out there overfishing the
Okay.
crappie, they
Yeah.
go out and they go, "Hey Ed, why you gotta be a punk?
Yeah.
Why are you taking all of them?
Right.
If you come back on this lake,
We'll drown you in it.
yeah. No, listen, that's true. Right, that's
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
Well, there's gonna be a hole in your boat, brother.
Yeah.
There'll be a couple holes in your boat.
Yeah.
Like that.
I hear you.
Because,
No, I hear you.
because when you give someone authority over you,
Yeah.
they will overstep it it becomes authoritarian every time.
So
And
go ahead.
I'm with you on the gun laws. I mean, every little bit they take more, and
Yes.
they take more.
Right.
So I saw a video this week too where a guy was recording through his Ring, which is the video recording thing on your house, the Ring doorbell thing, and the ATF was at his house, and the fact that he bought two firearms together at the same time or within like however many days of each other, they were coming asking him to show proof that he had them, and that's all they wanted. They didn't want to confiscate them. They just wanted proof that he had them because they were going around doing that. And then the guy who was making the video came back and he said, this is a law. This is a law that if you buy more than one gun at a time, that they get a list. They get notified right away, and then they will come, and they're not there to, quote, confiscate, but they want to see your guns with your serial numbers.
Which state's that in?
Oh, it's federal.
I think it's federal.
All this stuff is ATF.
I think it's federal.
It's all gonna be federal.
I thought that only happened if you had certain licenses, like Class 3, silencer.
It's possible.
Stuff like that.
It's possible because I didn't see the entire video, but I know the guy said that.
Going back to the law thing, why would you go after that guy? So that guy goes out of his way to get an FFL, and
Class
that's
3, whatever he has.
or whatever he has.
Right.
But you have to have though, like even to get suppressors, right? So you go out of your way to spend a lot of money
For
At-
something
at
that doesn't
your-
even quiet it down.
but oh no, they work good.
Oh, I know. 22, 9mm, 45, though.
I've seen some stuff quiet down a 308. I've seen it.
Yeah, but they're still breaking the sound barrier. Like, I heard quiet 223s before, and they're really fast, but they're still loud.
Anyway, so what was I talking about? Oh, the laws. I was on a rant. I was going good.
Threw you a curveball.
Well, if you get that thought back, but let's take it to this because I know a lot of people in the church are a little bit frightened, and I know we're like past 11 now, but
Yeah, but I feel like we're having a good conversation.
yeah. So a lot of people in the church are just as fearful. Like, for instance, Brandon, like, he understands as a new Christian the responsibility that he has when he talks to somebody about the word, that he doesn't want to get it wrong. So on different occasions, he's said, well, I don't really feel like I can do that right now, or want to do that or go this far, because, I don't want to mislead somebody. That's good responsibility. And yet there are still people in the church that go, no. As soon as someone gets saved, just cut them loose and let them go start telling people stuff. And so there's this idea that then the people who are trying to restrain a Brandon, that they're bad because they're trying to restrain the gospel in them. And so there still is like this fine line that says, I can encourage Brandon to continue to preach the gospel and live his life and give his testimony, his witness, but come alongside him and disciple him so that he does this well with other people, right?
Yes.
So you got both degrees. You got one people that want to stifle him and say you can't do anything until you get everything perfect. And then you got the other people that want to say just cut him loose and let him do whatever. And if he makes a mistake, oh well, God will make up for that.
Listen, I have 3 words for that. The Message Bible. God allowed the Message Bible to be printed.
That is true.
And people, I'm sure, have been saved by the Message Bible.
That is true.
Okay.
Well, I think kind of where Brian's getting, though, is training's important.
Yeah.
But I think, again, we come to personal responsibility. If you are a responsible... I watch YouTube videos about how to play guitar, for crying out loud. A responsible person seeks the education to do a thing better, to make a thing better. And I'm not just saying YouTube.
Yeah.
Reads a book,
Right.
talks to a person.
That's the responsible person, though.
If you're just willy-nilly doing something...
Which is 5% of the population.
Which is 5%. I don't know what you want to do. Like,
No, I get it too. I'm cool with
this
it.
is where sin jumps in.
Yeah.
So listen to this. So we had David Miller whining about the world is just not interesting. Corey, it's not whining, Dave. It's having a conversation about the things taking place in our country we live in. But you are welcome to not listen. David, I always drop in hoping they would discuss something related to the church, hoping to be edited. I don't know what that means. But
Edited like...
I don't know if that means Corey was editing. I don't know. Or if I edit, maybe I take liberties. I don't know. I try and read everything that's said. Yeah. And we are discussing the church now.
Well, I think we were in the beginning too.
Oh, we did.
Yeah.
So I say if you just found out about Jesus and you want to run around like a stark raving lunatic about loving Jesus, how does that hurt anybody?
No, I agree.
Why can't we have class 3? Full auto.
Yeah. You mean full auto Jesus?
Full auto machine guns.
We should be able to.
I think so too.
Right? We should be able to.
Yeah.
We should be able to have whatever
the government has.
If
we should
you
be
want
able
to
to
buy
have.
a mini, that's right. Listen, I hope you're serious about that statement.
I am.
Because if you had the money to buy a Black Hawk helicopter, you should darn well be able to purchase a Black Hawk helicopter.
Right.
That's just my opinion.
Yeah.
That is how we defend ourselves. Yeah. That is how we protect ourselves. And when we shifted from a philosophy of making firearms for the country to when we found out how much the federal government buys to making firearms for the federal government.
Yeah.
And that's when the federal government bought the firearms industry.
Yeah. No, and I hear that. But when you come into the scriptures and stuff, this is where I think the church is either all about...
I've never heard anybody... You've heard people tell people not to witness? Because they're new?
Yeah, if they don't know how to explain the gospel right, they think that you shouldn't say anything.
Oh. It's not edited, it's edified. He's hoping to be edified, which means lifted up. Okay. Sorry, Dave.
Encouraged.
Maybe start your own podcast or listen to another one. All right, Corey, calm down.
Calm down.
Calm down.
So this is my thought. Like in the church, I've heard even years when I was younger in the faith.
Corey, go have a cigarette.
Go have a cigarette on. Yeah, let's go.
Relax. I heard people say, when new Christians come in the church, you can't let them do certain things. Like you can't let them. Well, you don't want them teaching a Bible study right away. You don't want them facilitating something right away. Now, Brandon, it's interesting because he, as a responsible person, he sees the need to know the truth before he tries to explain something because he doesn't want to get it wrong. But some people don't see that truth. And so the church has to do this. And I think here's what happens. You get two sides of the story. You got one church that's super lazy and says, just let them, they just became Christ. Let them facilitate because they don't want to disciple them. They don't want to teach them. And then you get all this false doctrine. You get people deciding how they're going to interpret the Bible one way. But then you've got this other side that wants to manipulate people and make them teach and do everything and believe everything that they believe. And that means you don't give them any freedom to just look at the scriptures and start to figure it out for themselves. So there's still a fine line in there where I think you need some standard, at least in the Bible, because the scriptures tell us we're supposed to make disciples, teaching them to obey.
But see, now you're talking about the confines of teaching in the church and,
Right.
and teaching, instructing.
Right.
You're not just talking about sharing the gospel anymore.
Right.
If you're talking about just sharing the gospel and how you feel Jesus positively impacted your life by becoming saved,
Right.
who is stopping that from happening?
Right.
That's just silly. But
Right.
I don't want I don't want someone who just learned how to add yesterday
Yeah.
teach calculus in college. That's totally different.
Right.
I want somebody who knows calculus
Right.
to teach me calculus in
Right.
college.
Right.
I think that's two different things there too.
I hear what you're saying. Okay. All right. Well,
That was fun.
that was fun.
So we had 3 total views on the white channel,
Nice.
8 total views, and a little contention on the black channel.
With the Black Channel, are we still at 100 subscribers on the Black Channel?
150.
Yeah, right.
Is it 150?
I
I don't know. I'd have to go.
I got a feeling we're going to be one less subscriber pretty soon if people don't stop fighting.
Well, podcast should be anything. I mean, that's what they are.
What's that?
Like a podcast. We're here to talk about everything and anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think ultimately we do relate it back to the scriptures.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
church-related podcast, but we get into the world and
Yeah.
how it reflects,
Yeah. Last time I checked, Brandon, you're a plumber. You got to work with all this stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Matt, you're
Like poop?
huh?
Like poop? What? You have to
No,
work-
but I mean, I guess what I'm thinking is that you live in the world. So if you're living in the world, we
Yeah.
gotta bring it back and see what the scriptures say about it and talk about it.
Right.
The past week on the job site, I was out there all week, and it was nothing but Tupac, Biggie, Bone Thugs and Harmony, F this mother.
I love that.
And that's all it
good
was.
stuff.
The job site was. I was
Wow.
like,
Can a work site listen to Tupac and Biggie at the same time?
yeah, like there was death metal over here,
Nice.
then there was Tupac over here,
Wow.
and then there was country over there.
Was there any Sandy Patty?
So let me guess. So the electricians were death metal, the plumbers were Tupac, and the carpenters were country.
No, we got it backwards.
Really?
The electricians were rap, Tupac.
Oh, okay.
The plumber was death metal,
Wow.
and then the
Carpenter was country.
carpenter was country.
Everybody
Okay,
knows
that-
that.
yeah,
That's just easy.
Yeah.
That's just easy.
Yeah.
He's country or classic rock.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And
A little bit of Lionel Richie.
our plumber had like some rap going, a little bit of rap going on his phone too, but it was mostly raw death metal.
Have you ever been on a site where somebody's complained and been like, just shut that stuff off? Not because they're necessarily a Christian, but just because they don't like that stuff.
No,
No. Most
you-
people are pretty
do
cool.
you
because you
have-
take away the radio, work doesn't get done.
Do you have one of those big radios?
Yeah, big Milwaukee.
You got you know what you do? You get some Sandy Patty. You play some Sandy Patty.
That's good. You know who Sandy Patty is? We should close with a Sandy Patty song.
Oh boy.
So while he's pulling up a Sandy Patty song, listen, it is our, not that we have to necessarily communicate this, but it is our position here on the podcast to take relevant things that people are dealing with, whether it's news related or world related, or even just stuff you're dealing with from day to day, and see how they relate to the scriptures. So we try to do that. We don't do that always well.
Hey, listen,
But
we beat up
I
on
think we
problems in the church too.
Oh yeah, we do.
Almost to the point where I'm kind of like, okay, I'm over it.
Yeah.
I mean, we could complain about the church all day.
Right. And I think when we started out, we were talking about that Satanism stuff. Yeah. And people don't realize it.
2023.
Yeah. Brandon, what you were at the
year of
concert.
the
Did you
devil.
talk about that a couple
Yes.
weeks ago, right?
Yeah.
So
You're the devil.
The year of the devil is 2023. And people think, well, let's not talk about that. Let's talk. Well, there's people out there that are living in this realm that are believing this stuff. And maybe someone will come across this podcast and not only hear us talking about that stuff and go, that interests me, but then they'll hear us relate it to the scriptures and say, wow, maybe I should take a look at this thing called the Bible because that's got something to say about that. You know? And we don't necessarily do that well, but that's our goal. Here's some Sandy Patty.
Hold on. Go ahead, keep talking. I was going to talk over.
Oh, okay. He's pulling
You,
it up.
you finished up your thought?
No, I think that's So I think that's what we do, and that's not always for everybody, but
Yeah.
this is beautiful.
You need to put this on the job site.
This is terrible.
It's a great song.
April will like this because I think when she was growing up, she liked Sandy Patty.
I can tell
Why
you
does
right
that
now,
totally make sense?
no production would be done.
No, this is why you need to do this. You'll just hear everything stop.
Lots of cigarettes would be smoking. And maybe something else.
Oh, that's terrible.
The universe.
Oh, it takes her forever to get it out.
Yeah. Well, she's got that soft kind of. Oh,
Oh,
let's
oh.
sing it. Let's sing it with her. No, don't do it.
How?
How
So-
great thou art, sing it out.
Do you think they're like leaning on toolboxes and contemplating while smoking their cigarettes?
Contemplating about going home.
Sing it to the Father.
Sing it to the Father.
And they're like, I hate my father.
I hate my dad. My
to
dad beat me. Oh dear. Okay, it's a great song. I feel bad that we made fun of the song, but she is terrible.
We out.
We out?
Wow, 90% of the content is complaining. We really struck a nerve.
I guess so. We apologize for that, but we can't
I don't apologize. for
necessarily change it.
that. Yeah. What else we got?
I don't know.
Are we punching out?
Yep, we're punching out.
Until we complain about something next week, you all have a great one. Go ahead. You finish out your thought.
Well, we got an error report.